Tara Setmayer, who was a Republican, and was tired of Donald Trump's stuff. Eventually, she switched over and she's like, "I'm tired of this." She has a way of pointing out where the false realities that they like to claim are. So she was on CNN and she was talking about the real backing of the blue.
Trump supporters are trying to sit here and act as though Donald Trump supports and backs the blue. No, he doesn't. You look at what Donald Trump did and what MAGA has done to the police officers who defended our Capitol on January 6th. You want to talk about spitting in the face? Donald Trump spit in the face of every single one of those officers who took that oath to protect and serve on January 6th when he pardoned those insurrectionist bastards and who wanted to take down our Capitol and stop the free and fair peaceful transfer of power. So how dare he say this now? It is the reincarnation of George Wallace, of Huey Long, of the disgusting policies of the past that have this strongman desire to use law and order and the fear and demagogue for people that Donald Trump is channeling right now. And so how dare people sit here and say that he backs the blue? He abdicated that because you know what? He did not protect or defend the Constitution, and he violated his oath of office. You know who said that? You did after January 6th. And that's exactly what he continues to do right now with the way he is throwing around our military, our police, talking about moving us to other states. This is something people should be very concerned about too.
And then Scott Jennings sat there with that look on his face like, is she talking about me? Yes. Before you were bought, before you went along with the fascism because you weren't sure if you could fully acknowledge your fascism and open support of this guy, you were acting like you were somewhat normal. But when it's popular within your MAGA fascist party, you're now all on board. Now you can say this stuff is normal. I'm glad Tara Setmayer is speaking truth and reality based off of the way these people have always said things. We have a really, really short memory. But when it comes to, again, pointing out what this is that's happening and the hypocrisy that's based on it, not many people put it much better than Mehdi Hasan.
If the D.C. cops want help, what is the right of the mayor and others to say, no, they don't need it?
The last time I checked, Leland, we're in a democracy, so that's the right of the mayor and the people to say that. I mean, D.C. actually is not part of our democracy, right? The people of D.C. have been disenfranchised for a long time. That's a whole separate discussion that we don't have time for tonight about home rule and control by Congress and the fact that they don't have members of Congress, et cetera, et cetera.
But Trump has the right to do this, so we've agreed on that. So
Trump has a legal right to send troops, and he doesn't have a right to interfere in the government, which he's now trying to do. Only Congress does. But, let's just take this one by one. Statistics that you don't like. The statistics do show that crime is down, violent crime is down in D.C. These are FBI statistics as well as city statistics, as well as every stat out there. It's at a 30-year low, violent crime in Washington, D.C. It's down 35% last year, and as you said, 26% this year. You know who bragged? Leland, you know who bragged that crime is down in D.C. by 26% in April of this year?
I'm sure you're going to say Trump did, but I have no idea.
Trump did, yeah, Trump did. They took credit. They said, "Look, crime's down." Ken Martin, his acting attorney. No, it's important because when they wanted to show the statistics in their favor, they did. Look, it's down. Crime is down in D.C. Homicides are down in D.C.
I think, Mehdi, you're making a mistake here because you're making a mistake here because it doesn't matter whether it's up or down. It was at a high and out of control during the pandemic.
Yes.
Whether it's up or down is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, it still happens. Okay, we have video from Friday night where a mob of kids took over a store and looted it. We have video from about a week ago where they beat up this mob of 15-year-olds were carjacking somebody, beat somebody up, almost killed them. What about their rights? I'm still trying to understand why, if you're a law-abiding citizen, more police is a bad idea.
But it's not more police, right? It's the National Guard. Fire more police. Did you know that the Trump administration just cut $20 million in security funding to D.C., which is weird because apparently crime is out of control. When you say it doesn't matter whether it's up or down, it does. Some of us believe in truth and facts. When you say, crime should be stopped, of course crime should be stopped, but this is not the solution. Are you planning, or is Trump planning to send the National Guard to every city? Is he going to send it to Aurora, Colorado, which has a Republican mayor and a higher crime rate, violent crime rate than D.C.? Is he going to send it to every city? This is not sustainable, Leland. You're smarter than Donald Trump.
I hope he sends it to St. Louis.
You can't solve the crime problem by sending the National Guard. We're Americans. We don't like the military on our streets. We're not a tin pot dictatorship. We should be able to sort out crime through law enforcement, through policy, which Donald Trump doesn't seem to care about.
So let's put the National Guard aside. Let's put the National Guard aside. What's wrong with having?
I'm not. I'm not going to put the National Guard aside because it's quite important. It's at the core of this. This is about Trump wanting to do a power grab. This is about Trump's obsession with the military. You can pretend it's about...
No, come on. That's not an argument, Leland. Sorry, I forgot his first name. It's Leland Vittert. Oh, come on. That's not an argument. That's actually, I just lost and I'm not sure what I'm talking about because facts keep hitting me in the face. Let me go through some of the ridiculous things that this guy had his argument. His normalization of this whole thing was to say, what right, it's the very first question, what right does the mayor of the city have when police officers want help? Did you interview a bunch of police officers that wanted help? Help with what? I mean, because if they're in the city and they're fighting crime, maybe they should be better at it. Maybe they should try and stop crime, right? Because what they're doing is responding to crime. But I tell you what, as Mehdi Hassan pointed out, the right of the mayor, you know, the right of the mayor is to do what they want with the police department. I don't know. And also the fact that people live there. So no, the police state doesn't get to rule over it no matter how much Donald Trump told you that's what America is supposed to be. That's just what you guys wanted it to be. But as he got hit with facts about crime going down, it's the same thing that the liberal Harold Ford said. It's the same thing that Jeanine Pirro said. And it's odd that they were both on that same show on the Five on Fox News at one point, but then before Jeanine Pirro got her job with the Trump administration. I mean, I guess Harold Ford is aiming for that as well. But they all have that same talking point of it doesn't matter if crime is down. We're here to fight crime. Because if it happens at all, if there's any crime, then it needs to be stopped. But you know what's weird? Crime happens in these country ass towns where they attack black folks. Crime happens in areas where white teenagers beat up on a black kid and then nothing happens. Where's the National Guard? Where's the increased police presence? Where are the patrols going to the suburbs where white folks live and ask them, have you guys been looking and following any black folks here lately? Because we heard about that happening. It's an entire setup to groom our society to accept this. This is the normalization process. You have to pay attention. I'm gonna let Mehdi Hassan finish dusting this asshole off about this talk about Donald Trump caring about law enforcement.
You think it's because Trump cares about crime in DC, really? Because I remember Donald Trump on January the 6th, 2021, not giving
Mehdi,
oh,
come on. Noun, verb, January 6th. Okay,
sorry,
Mehdi, no, Mehdi, come on.
Let me finish my point. This is a short segment.
I know you said that. 150 police officers got hurt.
Hold on. You gave Bill O'Reilly a lot of time. Let me give an answer. I'm here for much shorter time. Let me speak. On January 6, 2021, you may want to move on for it. We all watched police officers in D.C. being attacked by a Trump-supporting mob, 150 injured, 600 people convicted.
Mehdi, you're going to sit here. We know the statistics of January 6th. Mehdi, you're going to sit here. Mehdi, you're going to sit here. Mehdi, you're going to sit here and say if Trump cures cancer, then January 6th was terrible. Okay, the fact of the matter is you can't have an argument. You can't have an argument about what's happening on the streets of D.C. without going back to January 6th.
Because it's about
you won't talk about actually the crime.
Donald Trump, Leland. But Leland's
no, it's not. It's about how to have people be safe.
I said to you, Donald Trump doesn't care about crime in D.C. You said, yes, he does. And I said, I'm going to give you evidence to prove he doesn't. If he cared about crime in D.C., why did he pardon 600 people who assaulted police officers? You can't come and make this emotional
claim. Oh, come on, Mehdi. You can't. You're talking about completely different things.
You don't actually care about crime, then.
You cannot talk about this. There's completely different things going on.
Why?
What do you mean either I care about crime or I don't?
Where was the National Guard? Where was the National Guard on January 6th, 2021
come on, you can't do no. This is silly. This is absolutely silly, Mehdi. You can't do this.
Why?
No, because it has nothing to do with what's happening or what the arguments are right now. Okay, and you can't. No, it has nothing to do with it.
Crime matters in D.C. The victims of crime matter in D.C. What about the cops in D.C.?
And I'm the only person who died on January 6th was a Trump supporter, and you can't talk about what's happening on the streets right now.
Let me know when you want me to speak.
No, you can't talk about you cannot talk about this without talking about January 6th or anything else. You won't have an argument on the merits. Mehdi, thank you as always. We first wrote about this in War Notes.
And when you lose the argument, you get out of the segment. Oh, come on. I think our lost count for the oh, come ons from Leland, I think we were at 8 to 9. Oh, come ons. That's not an argument, bro. That's just saying I lost. My bad. Actually, and then the thing is, if you lose a discussion and a debate like that, just say, I hadn't thought about it that way, actually, Mehdi. I hadn't thought about it that way. Maybe we shouldn't trust Donald Trump's judgment on this because he's lied his entire life. He's failed at everything that he's done. He's an authoritarian. He hates this country. He wants to come after its citizens. Everything that he promised, he's not doing. Oh, that is except for all the violence and stuff that they said was just him trolling during the campaign. But other than that, what I've discovered is I was wrong. There's no point in debating, folks. Mehdi kicked his ass all over the place on that, and not for the sake of some kind of views, but for the sake of talking about what we're seeing versus what Leland Vitter's being paid to tell us we're seeing. That's why you don't debate these folks. Do you think his mind is ever going to be changed? That's not profitable enough for him to change his mind on what he's been told to say. When you're told to carry the water for the dictator, why would you not? That's what benefits you. It doesn't benefit you to be right and then change your position based off of actual facts.